What's up, everybody? St. R. Edwards here again. Welcome to Ski Swift Coding for everyone. All right, in this section, we're going to continue with app development with Swift. Everyone can code. Section 1.2, right? All right, so right now we're going to discuss everything about types. You know the song, I don't got no type. That is the only thing that I like. Well, we do have types in Swift, and we're going to talk about those different types. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to define types. We're going to go over a couple different types, and we're going to talk about type inference um, in this lesson. All right. So stay tuned. All right. So if you could go ahead and open up a new Xcode playground, and we'll save it to our projects folder. All right, types. So each type comes with properties and functions that may be easier to use when you're using variables and constants with that type. All right. And so what we'll do is we'll define the struct. All right. So we'll say struct person. We'll do a curly brace. If you do one curly brace and you hit enter, it'll create the second one for you. You're going to need that in the situation. And so let's say, so we'll do var first name, and it would be of type string, if I could actually type, and then we'll do var last name, and this is of type string as well. All right, so this is define a person. And also another thing about types is functions. So you can create a function to do something with the object that that you will create. So a struct, just think of it right now as just a structure, like a blueprint for something that you're trying to create. So we're just making up some properties. First name and last name are properties of a person, right? And so a function will do something with that object that you create, and you'll see more here in a second. So we'll define a function called func, and you just write the keyword func, say what up, say what up, and you do one curly brace and you hit enter, and the second curly brace will appear. Okay. And so inside the curly brace, this is where all the action happens. So when this function is called, we want to print something. So we'll say, hello, my name is, and we'll concatenate first name, and then we'll do last name. All right. So what we just did here is called string concatenation. So we just basically put, we made it so we can put our variable inside of our string, our print statement right here, and you do a backslash, and then you do the parentheses, right, and then you put the name of the variable in between. Okay, and you'll see how this works in just a second. So now on the outside of our struct, we could actually put this stuff to use. Okay, so we'll say let first person equal, and then we'll say person. That this is our struct right here, right? And then if you start typing that, and then you put one set of parentheses, our structure will pop up, and then we'll put in the string name. So you can make up a name. So it can be, we'll just say Michael Jordan, as if he needs to tell anybody his name. Okay, so first person is Michael Jordan, and we'll define another property, or another object, I should say, another object of person, and we'll say second person equals, we'll say Eric Thomas, one of my favorite motivational speakers, Dr. Eric Thomas. So we'll say Eric Thomas. All right. Now, in order for us to use our function, all we have to do is call that function on the object that we created by using what we call in the Swift programming language the dot notation. So all you got to do, if you wanted to introduce yourself as Michael Jordan or Eric Thomas, all you got to do is write first person. So we'll do Michael Jordan first, right? So we'll say first person, and then we'll say dot. And as you can see, everything that belongs to that struct that we created, struct of person, pops up. We got first name, last name. We'll need to use that obviously, and we want to say what up. So down in our console, we should see hello, my name is Michael Jordan. Okay, and we do, and same thing. So we just called our function. So next we'll do second person dot say what up, and as you can see, it's hello, my name is Eric Thomas. So also, when it comes to different types in Swift, there are several different popular types that you'll probably use a lot as a programmer, and they are, of course, double, ints, and then you got of course your string, which is just your text, and then you got your booleans. Okay, and so we'll go through all of those. So we'll go through doubles first, and a double in the Swift programming language is just a number with a decimal point. All right, so we'll say let pi equals 3.14. All right, so that's a type of a double. All right, and now if you were to hold the option key and you clicked on that, you'll see that Swift was able to type inference that it was a double because we used the decimal point. We put the decimal point in our declaration, and that number is in pi, and Swift is smart enough to know to infer that it's a double. Okay. Next is integer, and what we call int for short. And for integers, it's just a whole number. So we can say let my age equals 31. All right. So without explicitly telling Swift, hey, this is an integer, it knows based off of the data that we put into this variable name, my age. So again, if you hold option and the question mark pops up and you click on it, it'll pop up and it'll say int. All right. Next we have Boolean or bool is the actual type name, what it's referred as. And then we'll say, so bool is either true or false. There's no in between. It's either something's true or something's false. That's it. Very simple. So we'll say var this is a cool course, and I'll say equals true. Bool. Alright, and again, you hold on the option key and you click on it, and it knows because we put true in there. You can also say false. You can say, oh no, this course sucks, and you can say false, and the same thing. Bool. Alright, I'm gonna go back to true. All right, and so next, what is it doing? And next is obviously a string, which we already know, but I'll just define it again. String is just a piece of text, and so we'll say var same thing here. String. All right. So those are the different types in Swift. With type safety, Swift will not let you mismatch. It won't let you mismatch your types. Okay. So let's say if you went, let me say type safety, and we'll go let player name equal Brandon. and we'll say var player score equals 2000, right? Okay. And then we'll say var, game over equals false. All right, the game's not over. So we clearly have a string, an integer, and we've got a bool, right? So what about player score equals game over? Let's see if that works. Player score equals game over. Think that'll work? No. What does it say? Cannot assign value of type bool to type int. All right, so that's that's a part of the the type safetyness. Swift will not let you mismatch it, and that's one of the the cool parts of this language, especially with being a new developer. There will be mistakes, and hopefully the compiler will catch it. This code will not compile, it will not process and give you what you think it should give you. So it's looking out for you, it's hooking you up. So let's say we want to create a new constant, and we'll say go type inference. The city name equals channel view. Okay. So again, Swift will know, already knows based off of the the data that we put in here, that city name is a string. All right. That's just another one of the cool things about this language is type inference. So there are 3 different cases that you want to use your type inference for. And one is if you declare a variable and you don't give it a value, then you have to tell it, you have to tell Swift what type it is. That way, it can infer it later, and it can also help you be safe if you tell it what type it is. Also, if you're creating your own type, then you have to give it a type. And also the last thing is that if you're creating a constant or variable and it could be misunderstood, like if you want it to be clear and concise, you don't want to get it mixed up, then you want to obviously give it the type, so we won't have to guess. All right, so we'll just go through that. So for instance, for the first instance, when you declare a variable, but you don't assign it a value first. So we'll say let favorite number equals int. All right, or let's just do it without it. So if we do let favorite number and we don't do anything, see it says type annotation missing and pattern. So it even tells you. So let's just go. So we'll just go int. All right. So later on we can assign it. So we can now say favorite number equals, let's just try something. So the favorite number equals 4.7. And what does it say? Cannot assign value of type double to type int. All right, so it has to be an integer. It has to be a whole number. So we'll just say 7. Favorite number is 7. Okay. All right. Now next, when you're creating your own type, so let's say you're creating another struct. Let's say struct car. All right. And let's say var make. It's going to be a string. Var model will be a string in most cases, and then we'll say var year will be an int. Okay. Now, if you were to leave these blank, you would get the same type of an error. So therefore, if you were to use it again, if you were to call your, if you were to create an object, we'll say let dream car equals car, right? And then we'll say, you see that? So it it really makes it easier on you. We'll just say model, and we'll say Range Rover, and then year. I'll just put 2019. I'm sure those are out by now. So yeah, there you go. So one of the last things is if you were creating a type and you didn't want it to get mixed up with a different type. So let's say let middle initial equal k. All right. So middle initial equals k. Now, if you were to hold option and see what it is, it tells you it's a string based off of what we put in there, but we actually want this to be of type character for whatever reason. So you have to tell it explicitly. You have to say, hey, actually I want it to be a type character, and then there it is. And so now if you do it again, it'll obviously change because we declared it that. Okay, we made it that. So it's a character now. All right. Hey guys, that's the end of this video. Make sure you guys actually complete the lab. I believe this section 1.2, has 7 questions. It'll help you get better as a developer, and you will understand the programming language Swift a little bit more. Thank you for joining me, and stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe below, and more will be coming soon. Take care.